Broadcasting from the studios of WKEN, where every day it's the weekend. It's the Ken Calvert Show with your host, Ken Calvert.
Hey everybody, it's me, KC, Ken Calvert, and welcome to the Ken Calvert Podcast from our studios here at WKEN in Southeast Lower Michigan, where it's also the home of Tim Allen. Tim Allen in town tonight, performing for Forgotton Harvest at our beautiful Fox Theater. Show's going off at 8:30 tonight. I texted Tim. I'll tell you what, I want you to hear this. Tim stopped by. I dragged him into my studio, and we just sat down and we talked. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Tim Allen. It's always good to get back together with you.
Jesus. Is that Springsteen, you, and Seeger?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If you look behind you.
We used to. I can't. I'll turn like you. Hold on.
No, stop it. He's making fun of my back.
I got my picture.
Yep. And look at how young you look in that picture there.
I look just like that now. If you add sun damage and melanoma.
I sold all your other stuff on eBay. I'll tell you what, thank God Last Man Standing got canceled.
Good luck.
Because I really...
Shot up the price?
Boy, I'll tell you what, when a show gets canceled, it's like losing a celebrity for a while.
Okay.
No, wait a second. Pull that microphone a little closer to you.
Pull it closer.
No, you know what? You're doing the Fox Theater tonight, Forgotton Harvest, right?
Yes, Ken.
What are you getting paid for that? No, I'm just kidding.
What kind of money you
What kind of toe you pulling down for that?
What kind do you do? You get money for that?
All right, so what...
I don't want to ask you about the money, but what would a guy just like you at the Fox Theater be making? That was an old buddy, a comic in town. When I first did Home Improvement, he goes, every time I came back to Detroit, he goes, what do you pull down for that? What do they pay for? That's the rudest thing. You can't ask anybody what they make in life. He goes, okay, I agree. That's stupid. What would a guy just like you in a show just like that, what would he be pulling down?
It's pretty good, though.
Oh, I love it.
That was a good attempt at it.
Yes, it was.
What were you pulling down?
What were you pulling down?
By the way, that was a giant pimp job when they canceled Last Man Standing. And I think that you got more pub out of the fact that you got canceled or whatever it was, dropped. Yeah, and... You were in the news for months because of what they were attributing your
right.
being dropped to your conservative values.
I said in response to that.
We talked. I just want to say real quickly because you were bummed out.
Well, I was just bummed out because I rarely liked a job that much. It was that close to my house, and I used to say there's nothing funnier or nothing more dangerous in L.A. anyway than a funny conservative because Mike Baxter just had a point of view. He was mitigated by people around him, and I said it was disturbing how classless it was handled. It just could have been handled better. They knew in October that they didn't want to spend the money. That was their deal. They didn't want to spend the money. Look, it's their business model. It didn't fit their business model. They didn't want a successable show. They don't want 8 million viewers. I get it.
Yeah. Well,
I'm being sarcastic.
I was going to say.
I don't get TV at all. I've never occurred to me. I never got a good answer, and the more you ask people that don't have a good answer, you just get these weird ones like, oh, my famous menu. Well, two of my favorite ones, one was recently, but one was when Outback Steakhouse, my wife and I went to get that bloomin' onion. We saw it on TV.
Yeah.
And I ordered it.
Yeah.
And you get this, meaning that you don't get answers that you want. People say weird stuff. And so I said, a mess of fried stuff and liquid onion showed up. Yeah. I said, oh, no. We didn't order this. We ordered the bloomin' onion. She goes, that is the bloomin' onion. And I said, no. And I showed her the picture on the menu. We ordered this bloomin' onion. And she goes, that's just a picture of something. I said, well, where do I get that something? Do you want to talk to the manager? No, I don't want you to put fish oil in my food. I don't know why I asked that. I got outdoor lighting once at my house that shorted out immediately. It's just called outdoor lighting. It's not meant to be outdoors. Mm-hmm. Oh. Because, it gets wet, right? I go, yeah, but you can't say outdoor lighting. That's just a name of it. We just name that. It's not actually outdoor lighting. The best line about movies or television, basically business, radio, any business that we as voices, talent, or writers or directors, there's a system in between us and the audience. And one comic who will remain nameless said, I told you, Tim, you shouldn't ever fall in love with hookers. And that's what you are. You're in between the customer and the service, and there's somebody in between that makes these weird decisions. And so you can't fall in love with the hooker. They'll just move on to the next person. They seem like a relationship. It acts like a relationship, but it's not a relationship.
I want to go back to Last Man Standing real quickly because of the fact that Roseanne just actually blew the cover right off the ball, I guess, for lack of better hyperbole. But she really killed it, and she's doing really, really well. And a lot of people were chatting right after the success of the pilot, the first show, that, oh, look out. Disney realizes now that they made a big mistake with Last Man Standing. Let's get Tim on the phone. I texted you, and he said, it's impossible. Everybody's going in their own direction. But is it a dead deal?
I wouldn't say it's a dead deal because the more they look at it, the numbers starting to make sense. There's a couple things that are working. Number one, you don't get 7 or 8 million viewers like that. It's very difficult to do that. We really weren't a political show. The guy had a political opinion, but it wasn't
right.
Nasty. We had a lot of different opinions. And also, Disney, it's not my news, Disney bought 20th Century Fox, or they're in the process of it, which means, in fact, on the economic side, they actually own the show now. So if any financial reasons have kind of disappeared. Now, they may come up with other reasons, and I can't speak to that. I can just say that the whole environment has changed dramatically since that has happened.
So, listen, knock wood. I hope you at least listen if they come a knocking.
You bet.
Okay. So tonight you're doing the Fox Theater.
Wonderful. Just did sound check, and what a brilliant room. Of course, right away. If anybody sees the show tonight, I'm leaving the kind of the work lights on, which is distracting from the stage. But that building is so beautiful. There's little tiny lights. I had to leave them on, 10% lights, so you can see the size of that room.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I go, "What are we looking at?" And Kevin, the sound engineer, that's Keith, rather. He said they're all Indian gods. Vishnu, Shiva, I think Ganesh. I know some of them because I studied this stuff. And I said, how weird is that to Indian people? People from India going, we come into a movie theater and all our gods are stuck on the walls. Is that politically correct? Of course, in this environment, probably not. But that, like, if you went to New Delhi, there's pictures of Jesus flying around movie theaters. Is it equivalent? But that being said, what a marvelous venue. You know, I think I saw Pryor there when I was a kid.
I saw Steve Martin and Martin Short there. That was a really kind of a bizarre show because Steve Martin also brought out, I think it's the Lost Canyon Band or something, his banjo band. But Martin,
what does Marty do?
Marty does a bunch of stuff that's it's just like it's
in parentheses, the funniest man in a room I've ever met. I've never met I have to walk away from Marty at a party because I'm eventually sick to my stomach. Yeah, he will not stop.
He is so on that it was brilliant, and somehow they managed to make it work. I think he plays the part of really an annoying little gnat, in terms of Steve.
Jiminy Glick, but he's real.
Right. And so it was great, but I've seen a ton of rock and roll bands there too as well. The acoustics, but like you said, you almost get lost with the visuals. So
it's such a beautiful thing. And then
you have to look at the audience tonight, young man. A lot of old friends will be there.
Well, I said this has been the second trip in this year to Detroit and to do the Royal Lake Music Theater, and I've seen so much rock and roll. I was part of rock and roll, not bands, but I saw a lot of rock and roll in that club, and to be doing that as a comedian, it's really weird how life has taken a turn. Especially I'm very grateful, love it. But tonight, one of the sound guys said, "You've been here before, you've done this," and that sounds weird. I don't remember doing that gig. I think it was a big charity gig we did, but not as a sellout concert. No, I went to the Cinderella Ballroom on a gig. A guy said, you got to go see this band. Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show opened up for a band called Jay Giles. And it was the Cinderella Ballroom, Full House. They did that album. Yeah. I've never in my life since seen a concert that red hot. Never.
That
ever.
Good, yeah.
So I said, we should get that for college. I was a college booker for Central Michigan. So I got Jay Giles Band to come up for $9,600, and Genesis opened for them.
Come on.
Yeah. At my university. And Genesis wasn't that good. I mean, they're great, but they're big hair British band in white suits, and then Jay Giles does their thing. And I was so full of myself. I played music. I did my spin like a DJ before the show, and I'm playing music and rocking the crowd because I was a pretty good disc jockey at a discotheque up there, and I was running the show, and I wasn't, doing it. I wasn't personally involved, and I didn't say anything. But the tour manager came over with the cut sign. No, hey, stop. You don't want to play better music. And he was being funny but serious. Stop. Because I was doing Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones, really, and then some Isley Brothers and R&B. Because stop. All right, you don't sound this good. No.
Meaning the Giles band didn't play that good?
He was just saying, our music doesn't sound this good. I was moving the song so quickly together.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I've seen this band, this Jay Giles band, literally for an emotional experience, is one of the best bands I've ever seen.
And I saw them probably, well, I guess I hate to say this, it was probably 10 years ago. And it was one of those reunions, one of their first reunions. And the entire band was back together at the time. And nobody sat. I mean, we were adults. I mean, talking seasoned adults, just acting like
they could pull you up with because it's
like
R&B.
Fools. We had a riot.
R&B. Peter Wolf was the and he danced like Michael Jackson.
With the green teeth, flip it down your head. Let me climb up the ladder.
I don't know how to
love.
describe that music. It's blues, R&B, rock and roll kind of fusion.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything. Harmonica, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And the guitar, just the way they funky, and he danced really.
What did I mean, to this day, I think he weighs 115 pounds.
I could kick his ass.
He's like Steven.
It's all I said. I said I could kick that guy's ass.
Steven Tyler and Peter Wolf go against Ken Calvert and Tim Allen.
Jay Giles passed away, right?
Yes. All right, I'm going to bounce all over here because I know you don't have a lot of time. Heck, it's 5:15. You're going on in 3 hours, and I know you've got so many commitments you got to do, but this is so cool. Thanks for doing this. Coming over to the little WKEN studios.
Nice.
Here. Just like the old days,
just
man.
Just like WKEN.
Isn't this great?
Well, it's not quite like the old days.
Well, no, yeah, that's a very
old days.
We don't want to go
there.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to cut that, though. We're going to leave that in there, okay? I do want to mention the fact that back in the early days, I remember the progression of you getting hotter and hotter and hotter in comedy. And that was so exciting to see because we were all comedy rats. Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle. Mm-hmm. We just hung out there all the time. And so many great comics come out of here. So many great comics. And I'm surprised because I never thought that you would get back to this stage of your career doing stand-up. And so many really, really big comics are out doing it. What's going on out there? What's in the water?
I'm going to guess Leno and I become pretty close chums. And this is really the anarchist potential of a comedian can't be understated. When you forget it when you do television shows and radio and everything else. Someone's telling you what to do. When you're on stage, you own it. And I'm responsible for it. It's like working without a net. And when you work without a net, there's nothing like it. I can do anything I want to do, but I'm responsible for every single thing that comes out of my mouth. And I think what happens is Leno's never stopped doing this. And he does. We both work the same room at the Mirage in Vegas. And classically, either he follows me or I follow him around the road, these big gigs. And he says, don't you love the fact that it's in a weird way, the money comes from me delivering exactly the right product to the customer. There's no in between. And there's something really organic about that. There's something really fulfilling about that. There's nothing like it. I mean, here I told my wife, doing this for 25 years, then television, movies, and then kind of doing it more now. I've ramped up, done 44 cities. I'm back to somewhat cheesy hotels because sometimes I'm only there to dress and then we get on a plane and go to the next gig. Yeah. So doesn't matter to me to have a suite or any kind of big hotel. But there I am ironing a white cotton shirt again.
Wow, no kidding.
And I go like, it's the same move under the pocket, lift the sleeve up, do this, and I'm going, wow, how long have I done this? And Lowell Sanders and I, the opening act, we've been doing this for 30 years. You become what you hate. I swear. Now I've become one of these old guys that goes into comedy clubs in little cities and they bump everybody off. Tim Allen's here. And I used to hate that. Yeah. I'd be down to Ridley's and Gary Shanley would show up. They go, he's going to do 20 minutes. They go, what about my 5? Who cares?
Yeah, and who wants to follow Gary Shanley at that point?
No.
It's amazing, though. I'm not asking you to be reflective here, but I mean, to some extent. It's been a good career. And it continues to just go and grow.
I said once again, I listened to Leno because he's a warm, wonderful guy.
Seems like it, yeah.
And we've become closer and closer. And the same thing, we both appreciate so much the ability to do this because I like it more than the audience likes it. I like comics. I like listening to comics. I like laughing. I'm an easy laugh, especially for Marty Short. And I said, this is a. But Leno's like freaky because he goes, what do you do if you retire? The retire is just another word for death. And I go, well, Jay, I don't think I'd look at it that way. But he works all the time.
Yeah.
He loves this. I like it. I love the 45 minutes in the sweet spot on stage, and there's nothing like it. There's absolutely nothing like it. When I know that you're laughing at this, wait till you see what I got coming. And I do what Pryor did to me. And Pryor, I saw him at the Fox, changed my life. I sat there and laughed till I hurt. And he did it again. And then he never stopped doing it. And Pryor was never a different skin tone than me. Somehow he got me deep. And it was funny stuff. He did say stuff that from a European background I didn't understand because he's from a different background. But all along the line, he changed my life. I said, if I can do that, and he never stopped. There wasn't a moment where we all rest on our laurels. That was funny stuff. A little pause. No, he rock and roll comedy. And I said, if I could, I enjoyed that so much. It's like I always want to be a truck driver. Get this. And I've been driving my RV around, telling my wife and kids, I actually kind of like this. I like driving that position in an RV. And there's something about being on stage that I hope it doesn't go away, which is a funny thought I had. I'm starting to look at old guys, Buddy Hackett, Milton Berle. I'm watching their stage show, and I'm pitching that I'm pissing right now in my pants. No,
well, that's a sign that you're getting older. There's no doubt about it. Incontinence is. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Incontinent. That sounds like what's his? Who's the guy that does Norm Crosby does stuff that doesn't make sense? It's called something. He saw a very thin dog, and he said, "There, look at that dog's emancipated."
Right. Put a couple of catastrophes around that word.
Well, I like so much what the guys before me have done, and that's really where I'm at right now. Is that I really have a great respect for these guys that they weren't funny when I was a kid. I really didn't like Bob Hope that much. I liked his asides. I liked his looks to the camera. I liked all that stuff. But his stand-up, although now I read it, and I'm still trying to find the piece where he goes, he's in Saigon for the troops, which is a wonderful thing that he did for the troops. And his hotel got bombed while he was on stage. And then there was an explosion, and you could see the top floor of his hotel. And he goes, oh, look at that. They must have seen the show last night. So right off the top, almost died. Yeah. And I got to appreciate a sense of humor. This is where I'm at.
I found an old interview with Milton Berle, which I put up on the podcast. It was one of the very first ones I did with this cycle of podcasts. And Milton Berle is like, hello, Ken, how are you? Yeah, it's Milton Berle. And I said, Milton, this is truly an honor. He goes, where are you? I said, I'm in Detroit. Can you move? This guy's 91 years old or something. And I'm like, he set me up at 91. The guy set me up on the telephone. Where are you? Detroit. Can you move? And I just thought it was brilliant.
Rickles, before he left, I'd see him so many times in LA. He set me up every time I saw him, where he acted like he was really old and infirm, and then he'd say something really sharp. Yeah, like he just wasn't interested in what you were saying. Instead, he couldn't hear it. He wasn't listening. And I can't even show you. I can't tell you because it doesn't work. But this guy was the most genuine, warmest guy. Really was Mr. Warmth, but you turn that other side on. He was a terrifically sharp, fast man. And
a nice man, right?
Oh, yeah.
You said something really, really interesting, and I've never heard you say it before, and I've never heard any comic say it before, but it really speaks to being on stage and knowing what you're doing as a professional comedian and really liking what you're doing. When you just said to me earlier in this, you said, if you think that's funny, wait till you see what's coming next.
What's coming next?
That is brilliant, Tim.
Well, it's like a magician. I can't. When you know you've got them, they've seen the sleight of hand over here. You go, oh God, they're gonna. And there's a point. I'm not even gonna say it. There's a point in my act lately. This is 38 cities in. I'm starting to laugh because where I'm setting you up. This is much funnier than what. And I start laughing. I said, this is what a joy this is to give this gift away, to laugh that hard. I've always wanted to know what it's like walking out of my concerts because I don't know. I know that Pryor, I remember when I lost a custom-made hash pipe that's still at the Fox. Maybe I'll find it. But I made a hash pipe, not for me. Yeah. I wasn't using it.
Of course. You were holding it.
I was holding it for the guy next to me
because he was a little nervous that night.
He was weird. But I wondered what it was like walking out. I couldn't stop talking about Pryor. I couldn't get enough of this guy after that.
Well, you know what? You've had. I don't want to keep you, man. But this is way overdue, by the way. Thanks. It's way overdue. All right, so let's just a couple of areas here. The obligatory. What's in the future? What's going on?
Oh, well, I know they've with some difficulty with script. Toy Story 4 is a go. It's on. I can't. They said 2/19, which would be extremely difficult. to have it finished by then. But Toy Story 4, and I know they want to do it because I'm going down to Disney in June to open Toy Story Land. And so I know that we're back on with that. But they're very private about what they do with this. And I know the story, it got waylaid because of some challenges up at Pixar. And outside of that, I've got 4 or 5 movie projects that with today's situation, it's very difficult to pinpoint where they go because we did a show on movie for Netflix. Ted Melfi, who did Hidden Figures, and it came and went, but it doesn't come and go anywhere. It just stays on Netflix. And I said, it's not my thing right now. I'm just a little confused, is what it is. I feel like I'm 105 years old.
It seems like a lot of really, really good actors are getting into that. One-off series, if you will.
I don't know what it's about.
The Looming Tower, for example.
And I can't find it.
With Jeff Daniels.
Right.
And you're right. It's a bit of a search effort for me sometimes to have to go through, okay, wait a minute, was it on Hulu? Was it on Netflix? Everybody has a different setup and a different way of getting to their various platforms, and it drives me insane.
Well, and then every now and then you go, like I went and saw A Quiet Place in the movie theater, and I love movies. I miss the event of going, paying $3,100 for popcorn and Raisinets. I did that at Universal in Hollywood, and I went and parked my car, and I used valet. There's a valet parker for the movie theater up in Universal City.
What does that cost you?
I'll tell you in a minute. Okay. So I said that. I take my little girl, and we're going to go watch Peabody and Sherman. And I said, okay, just a Raisinette. She's going to have water and a medium popcorn. $3,600. That seems fair. And then they look at you like they're just testing you. Did you say $3,600? She goes, no. I said 36. But she would have taken $3,600. But the parking was $56.
Come on.
And the movie was $18 for me, $10 for her, and about $20. And literally, I walked out of there with over $105 going, you should get clothing with this movie.
Yeah, a couple of shirts.
Couple of shirts or something.
There's a Target right up the street.
But you can't pay more for candy. It's per Raisinette. You're actually paying 3 cents a Raisinette, but you get the added benefit. You can throw the box anywhere you want.
Yeah, it's like Jerry Seinfeld, that bit about airplanes when they were giving out the peanuts.
Yeah.
And she would say, would you like these peanuts? And he'd say, sure, I'm not going to eat them all. I'm going to save this one for a little later, and then I might have this one tonight before I go to bed.
You notice in a movie theater, you can trash the place. They don't care. They've given up. They say, there's a trash can back here, but we know you don't care. Just drop everything on the floor like you do, and it's the last place.
I walk out. I'm a bit of a germaphobe now. I walk out like I'm a surgeon going in.
Oh, you won't touch anything?
No, I've touched so much that I just want to come out and get.
Oh, God, don't get me started.
Okay, I won't get you started on that. Wait a minute. I want to go back to Toy Story. Question for you, because I don't know if you know, I've ever really discussed this. The original line was not to infinity and beyond.
Oh, yeah.
You changed it?
No. I changed, you're a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity.
Oh.
When I look at him and I shut my screen right in his face. I actually don't. The animators do. But I said, when he said something to me, you are a toy, he screams at me, and I pause. You are a strange little man, and you have my pity. And I shut the thing. That, and I ad-lib some of the stuff when Mrs. Nesbitt, I get drunk at her tea party. Like I'm holding my own arm in my hand. Right. A lot of that, the animators don't like because other than Robin Williams in Aladdin, who he must have ad-libbed most of that. It was amazing stuff. But as they get more and more structured, they don't like you ad-libbing because every time you ad-lib, they got to change the animation.
Do you do that as well with the Pure Michigan spots?
No, those are so well written. Every now and then, and I hate to give away some of my jokes for tonight, only in Michigan does it work. I mean, to be honest, there's some of us, all of Michigan must be treated to those beautiful spots so people come visit.
Right.
But when you're talking about the great vistas of Saginaw, I don't care how I say it, I got to go, hold on a minute, let me get a drink of water. And then I'll get to this crew. I said, are we talking about have they changed Saginaw? Have they dug out an area and planted trees? And they're all going, let's just finish it. Let's just finish it. When you get into the inland empires, if you will, of Michigan, it gets harder and harder to, Big Rapids. The beautiful downtown Big Rapids. And then there's just this pausing come for me. I go, I've been to Big Rapids, people, unless they've done a major. But you got to be honest, when you're talking about Saugatuck and even Benton Harbor, all the places along the coast, they have a capacity for a beach or a summer type
Sure.
experience for the people. My deal is it's starting to get. I hear them in Texas. I'm performing in states way far away from here, and we're having an impact. The states.
Oh, we're so successful.
The state's impact, and it's not BS. If you vacation here correctly and do a little bit of investigation, you can live like a king with vistas that are unbelievable in this state, and some of the best people just because we're good at this. And I'm such a big fan of these, the McCann Erickson and the team that puts this together. But on occasion, they'll have an area that we all go, huh, yeah.
You know, you did one, and I kind of laughed because I never heard of it called the Clem before. I always think of you going verklempt or something like that. But you were going through all the little handles for different cities,
right?
You know. Beham, A Square.
Right.
The Clem. I went.
The Clem?
The Clem. You know, so,
we didn't get to Climax or Hell. We never got to those two.
Well, that's for the guys under the radar. That's a good television program on public television, I guess.
What, Climax?
Yeah, no.
Which one's Climax or which one is stop by or smile as you drive by?
I think is that Williamston?
Williamsburg.
Or something like that. Stop by or smile as you say hi.
Yeah.
Now, that's got a folksy, good, friendly feel to it.
All that area is... under you, St. Joe, Kalamazoo, those are great spots.
Yeah, you know, when you were doing the Saginaw one in Saginaw Bay City, all I could think of was
great bean fields of Saginaw. Wow!
And the Zilwaukee Bridge,
the
Zilwaukee Bridge, calling you home. I hate that bridge.
Okay.
That bridge terrifies me.
Okay.
So if Last Man, all right, so we're gonna wrap it up now for you because you've got to get back to your family who you brought back to Michigan, but you'll be back this summer. Spending quality time up north. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't believe how many people say, saw Tim Allen walking down the street. Like just walking down the street.
No shirt and yellow clogs.
And it was like, yeah. Well, Tim's kind of a guy, too. I mean, he's got two legs and he walks. So you're not opposed to going back into doing a television show? Oh,
no. I said,
okay.
If it push came to shove, I'd love to do a villain, and there's a couple villain parts I'd like to look at. Wild Hogs, they've been circling it, all of it. There's a great script.
That was a great movie.
There's a great script movie, available. Yeah. Television, but only with live audience. I don't think I want to do single camera.
Oh, so was Last Man Standing done in front of a live audience?
Live audience.
No kidding. I remember going out to see Home Improvement, and I remember that was so cool.
Well, so cool. And Karn and I laugh about it all the time. We didn't pay those people in Tool Time. That was like people off the street. They were in a show.
Yeah.
And there was a live audience that we looked at.
Yeah.
And when I directed a couple episodes of Last Man Standing, one of them we never didn't use the cut because I thought it would be fun to cut from when we kill it on the live show. I cut to the audience in my cut, and you'd see people laughing because I think it adds interest. When you saw it on TV, it looks cheesy. It looked like wow. It broke all the semblance that it was a real show, because you're watching, you think it's really family. We all realize it's not, but you suspend reality. When you cut from the kitchen to the crowd laughing, I went, no, but we didn't use that. We never used that.
If you almost are napping or falling asleep to a show that's on late at night, or not even late at night, so you've had a long day and you're falling asleep to something that's on maybe one of the CBS shows, one of the comedy shows, you all of a sudden it's hypnotic because the laugh track becomes the same,
right,
over and over again. You recognize that laugh from an earlier. Well,
we've had arguments all over. We used the laugh track. Unfortunately, sometimes the laugh track was for the same scene, but it was shot it wasn't the take that actual laugh track went to. And only because they can't fit it in. They have a certain schedule. You have to get the show to I think 18 or 19 minutes for 30 minutes or whatever it was, 21 minutes. It has to fit. And sometimes, very often, the live laugh is a little too long, because it trails off. You can't end it.
Yeah.
So they can't just bleed it into the next scene, because actually they're moving cameras.
I forgot about the fact that you had the Tool Time audience, and our buddy Al.
I just was watching it.
Yeah.
My youngest kid has never seen the show, so I wanted her to see it. I said, yeah, it's appropriate. Of course, it's an ABC.
How old is Elizabeth now?
She's 9 years old.
Woof.
But she's never seen it. You got to see the show. I got 3 boys instead of 3 girls, and it's pretty funny, or it was in its day. And Karn and I were laughing. We've been on my website. I'm starting to have Kate Fox. She's putting together all these clips of my shows and outtakes from things, and we're putting it on. Have a web presence. I don't know anything about this stuff really, so we're doing everything. We're getting all the outtakes of Home Improvement that you haven't seen. They'll be on. She's gonna kill me. On YouTube or something. However, you go to me and it'll link to all these outtakes of movies I've done, old stuff we shot here in Detroit when I was doing WXYZ. I did for a while. They did Good Afternoon Detroit.
Yeah. That was actually a very good show. Jim Oakes did that.
Right.
How-to.
Right, and I was on that. And I look at pictures in that's where I met Doug English.
Yeah.
It was the biggest day of my life. I met him. He took me out and actually hurt me on the Lions field. He showed me I was totally in pads, and he slapped me in the head so hard. He goes, "What?" I said, "What do you say to the other guy to get him mad?" He goes, "What'd you say about my mother?" Doug, and he just hit me really hard in the head and dazed me. And I said, and he said, "That's only half strength, Tim. I'd hit you harder."
Oh, he's a wonderful guy, man. He's doing really well.
I know.
I swear he looks like he could still play. The Lions open on Monday Night Football against the Jets.
I thought it was the Raiders.
No, September 10th against the Jets. They open the season on Monday Night Football, so that's probably 6 o'clock for you in Los Angeles. And I know for a fact that they're playing the Patriots. I don't have that date in front of me.
The last game, or when?
No, we play the Bears when you come home for Thanksgiving. So it'll be the Lions v. Bears. So are you come? You come back
I'll be back for Thanksgiving, but I haven't. How's the Pirate doing as a coach? What do you think? That big burly.
Oh, he's doing great. We'll find out next week.
All my Patriot fans go, "Good, you picked a guy that had one of the worst defensive positions ever in a Super Bowl." And I went, why did you have to say?
Let it go. Your wife's from Pittsburgh. I mean, how good can it be?
No, this isn't her. This is my...
No, I know, but I'm just saying you're surrounded by people that...
I got... Half the staff was Patriot fans. And
loaded with DNA of success.
Oh, success. Jesus.
It'll come, Tim. You and I together.
I don't know.
Tim...
I don't know.
Unfortunately, we're being told that we have to wrap now, ladies and gentlemen.
Boy, you leave me with this.
Is there anything else that
I'm just thinking about the Lions right now.
Well,
I want to get rid of the logo in the end zone, update everything. But Mrs. Ford did say something, at least allegedly, said, "Isn't the point of this game to win?" Didn't she say that?
I think she did.
I said, "Yeah, baby, this is what I want. That, and let's get rid of the lion mascot. Wash that thing,
Rory.
Just dry clean it."
Oh.
I hug him every time I bring my kids. I go, "Wow, this has been in the closet."
Oh, poor. I hope Rory's not listening.
No, Rory's fine. The guy, I'm sure it's a real lion in there, but let's dust it off and kind of make it look like a little more feisty.
I'm with you on the end zones, and I love it because all the sports guys call Mrs. Ford Marth Vader.
Nice.
Isn't that great? So you get to sit in their suite. I mean,
No, not me. I bought a box with my family, but there's 30 of us, so I bought a depressing box for 30 years. Let's leave at halftime. Right. Is Dad going to leave at halftime? Yes, he's already out in the car.
Is the show going to be pretty clean tonight? It's Forgotton Harvest.
No.
Really?
I said pretty clean. I told I don't like kids there. I don't think kids should go to comedy shows where I swear. I said I don't do sexual material, but I blow out sometimes the F-bomb, and my mom will be there, so it's going to be very difficult because I can feel her grimace.
Yeah.
She goes, "Just grow up. Use your words."
I love your mom.
So do I.
I absolutely adore your mom.
But I know
miss your dad, by the way. I think of your dad a lot.
Yeah, thank you. It's not for kids. I like 18 and above, 16 if you think it. But it's not sexual material. It's none of that. I swear a little bit, so I feel uncomfortable.
Well, you were in the front end of the Forgotton Harvest.
Yes.
You provided them with a couple of trucks.
Trucks early on. I've been doing this thing. I'm doing this thing for a long time with them. It's a great organization.
Did my golf outings for me?
Yeah, my pleasure to do it.
Yeah, well, I love you like a brother, man. Thanks so much for doing this.
Bet.
I'm just going to tell people real quickly. I texted you, just hoping you'd text back, and then I said, if you get a minute, can we have a cup of coffee? And you said, I got to go down and sound check. Why don't I stop by if I have the time? You stopped by, we did this, and I can't believe it, and I can't thank you enough, and I mean that.
Love you like a brother.
All right, break your vocal cords tonight.
Thanks.
All right, isn't that what they say in comedy?
No.
You're going to roll over to the Royal Oak after this?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to go get some blueberries.
All right. I'm talking about after the show
after
tonight.
The show. No, we're coming home. All my family's going to sit there and argue.
Okay, well, that's fun. Tell them I'll be right over.
All right.
All right, good. My wife's babysitting tonight, so I have nothing to do. All right, thank you. All right, I'll talk to you.
You can subscribe to the Ken Calvert Show podcast on Apple iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, or iHeartRadio. It's also available by going directly to www.thekencalvertshow.com. You can reach Ken at kencalvertpodcast@gmail.com. The preceding program is the property of Ken Calvert and may not be broadcast without the written permission of Ken Calvert, unless you want your knees broken.